shit, that's dangerous.
No, it's good. It's just
Oh, it's
irritated
fine. You're
my
only
throat.
dying. It's okay.
I'm only dying. It just irritated my throat. I got cough drops.
Dangerous.
No,
Okay, be careful of that fiberglass.
Good.
You're only dying.
The fiberglass is literally fine little tiny filaments. If you inhale, it can get.
Mic is now on there. So
The
that's
sky
all
costs
set
money?
up.
Kiss me under milky twilight. Look at it, put Game Grump or something.
The sky costs money.
I have music on.
Why, yes, it does cost money, dear.
Oh dear Lord, please don't do that. My ears are sensitive.
They are sensitive.
Okay, everything is
and
working.
you spoke directly into them.
Hold on, wait.
I only have my volume at halfway. On the description, I saw the word kink. So I'm like, wait, what? And I read the entire thing, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
So what are we drawing for you? Drawing today. It says world building.
Well, Plum, do you
world
want to
are we
explain?
Oh, is it the one that with your icon?
My what?
Elder's icon. Does it come from
no.
that world?
No,
Oh,
we're
okay.
doing a stream about characters in a new old Earth. It's real fantasy, and we're just doing some world building, so stuff like that. Hey, Disease!
Hello, Disease!
What's going on?
What's up, my dude?
Immediately screams.
Oh, my mom is messaging me.
But yeah, we're doing some world building on some characters that I made up, and most of the characters.
Everything else is me.
Yeah, everything else is her.
There's you've got Dante and Iris and all of Egypt, and then I have everything else.
Yeah, I'm pretty late into the
I'm gonna let
story.
y'all know, I've been world building this for 7 years.
I know.
Oh, these leggings are cute.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's my minuscule collaboration with her. So there's that. I have two characters, and they're both my precious children.
You can take me children out of me dead hands. They're like your
You
lucky
can take
charm.
me children out of my dead hands. They are precious to me. You better not hurt them, or I'll snap your neck. Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm looking at your channel. Can you answer something for me real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Snoop Dogg attends a funeral. What am I going to see when I click on that?
There was an audio
Never
post.
mind, I vetoed your need, and I'm going to.
There was a audio post on Tumblr that I thought desperately needed visuals, so I gave it visible.
Oh, did you show Plum the video yet?
Which video?
Reese's Puff, Reese's Puff.
I recommend not going back 11 months. Just ignore everything after Pop's new design speed art and don't go back farther than that and stop right there.
I already watched the Snoop
What are you
video.
talking about?
Things. Hold on. Could somebody? It's on my likes list. I have to go find it.
I
Hold
love
on, I wanted
all
to
of
hear
your
myself.
speed arts. You can tell me otherwise. I will watch them and rewatch them because
No,
I
but
love them all.
there's some bad stuff there, dudes.
I know. I watched them all.
There's some real bad stuff.
Subscribe to you. Chill.
Okay, I heard myself and I sound like a dick.
Did you mute the YouTube stream?
Yeah, I muted it. Like I just said, I wanted to hear myself. And I still sound like I'm paused.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the
Snap
way,
back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes
Who
spaghetti.
are we drawing?
We're drawing Iris,
Spaghettis.
and we're
Iris?
gonna talk about the
Oh
story.
yeah. My
Hold
dog.
on. Let me find it.
You
I
me to
want
send
this
you a
playing in the background, by the way, when I post it.
Honey.
Stop
I'm
messaging
gonna
me,
find
Mom.
it.
World building.
reference? Do you want a reference of Iris? If you need
Did
it?
someone see the Sergeant Frog abridged thing I found?
Oh, I love
It
Sergeant
was-
Frog.
I think everybody knows about that, but I just watched it and it's fucking beautiful.
Sergeant Frog
That's a
Bridge
work
is
of
so
art.
good.
I watched. I like that they put Doro and Guro as an actual couple.
Doro Giroro is the only ship I actually ship. Like, I don't ship anything else.
So cute. I'm going on
I don't know.
vacation and
I don't
wearing
know who I
this
ship.
chest here. I just love that shit. Why is there so many
Who we
deleted videos
got?
on my playlist?
Redboat.
Who turned on Fred? I don't want to hear Fred.
Oh, I just wait.
How did... Wait. Oh yeah, I forgot I have a bot commands list.
Yeah, you have a bot command list.
And where is it? Oh, Spotlight, but it's mashed up with the Reese's Puffs wrap.
Reese's Puffs. Eat 'em up, eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up.
Unmute it.
Reese's Puffs. Eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up. Wow. I got
Have you heard the visuals to this? Or seen them?
Have I heard the visuals?
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Uh,
I heard.
can
That
you
sounds
hear?
like something I
I
would.
mean, your eyes are on the side of your head, right?
This side. What are
Am
we
I
here?
a freak? This is playing on the stream. I can't hear it.
Luther, I don't think I can give you my stream thing.
There we go. Okay.
My 12-year-old brother wants to join
put it in
my server, and I don't think that's appropriate for him. Do you think? I don't think this is a good place for him. I think this is.
I mean, if he's okay with a lot of cursing from you and whatever, he's
a tripod
I don't
came in.
know if he would appreciate that. You always tell me not to.
Oh, Mew.
Someone crashed through the earth.
Okay, Cat. No,
Did we send them a line? I think it's pretty fucking hot at the middle of the earth.
Yes, it's multiple million degrees Kelvin. Very hot. Super hot. Major league hot. Like 600,000 degrees Kelvin or something.
You know, I was alive when this commercial was a thing, and still playing, and I feel no remorse. Well,
Should we start discussing the world building?
Well, yeah, I've been ready to start for a while.
I see that. Okay, so let's see. Where should
Well,
I
we
start?
start,
I don't
man.
know exactly. the
We should
main
probably
story
start
of what-
before the Fushigi Wizard.
Wait, say that again?
We should start before the Fushigi Wizard. With who Dante is.
Before
The fucking Fushigi Wizard. That was the best.
Fushigi Wizard. Okay, before the Fushigi Wizard, because we just made up that up today. Okay, so my character Dante, he was born from his mother was a prostitute. He doesn't know his father, but his mother.
Eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up.
What? Reese's Puffs? But his mother was a prostitute. He did not know his father. But the thing is, because his father was indeed magical, he was born into the magical world pretty easily. Problem is, because he was a little baby and didn't know how to control the flow of magic through his body, his arm was starting to be eaten away. Because the way that magic works is, it
Dragon magic specifically.
Dragon magic specifically, because it eats away toxins, then emotions, and then it starts with your body, like fat and then muscle. So it's pretty dangerous to use, especially if you're a little infant that was just born. So that's pretty.
Not specifically dragon magic, but like more physical magic, which is pretty much the magic that children are able to use if they're born into being, because you can learn how to do magic, and it's easy to learn how to do magic, and whether or not you learn or are born being able to do magic, it doesn't matter. You're not like more skilled traditionally one way or the other. It's just you start at a younger age. So people who are born being able to do magic are generally more skilled because they've been doing it since they were kids. But the problem is, if you're a kid, you can't do the fancier types of magic. You can only do physical magic, which takes away toxins and emotions.
And the thing is, Dante, small kid, born in Egypt, but his mother moved them to France when he was like 1.
Oh, we need to explain Terran. They probably think we're just talking about normal Earth.
Oh, like, no.
I should explain Terran. That's my thing. Okay, so in my universe is really convoluted, but there's, oh god, where should I start? No, I'm gonna start a new layer, and I'm gonna hide this layer so I can explain this. So if y'all are watching this stream, that would be great. Okay, so
I'm staring at it, also watching Bendy Raptorisi's puffs.
Oh gosh.
Disease did this to me. Blame Disease.
Wait, are we talking about Undertale OCs, or are we talking about other issues I don't understand?
We're talking about my original story.
Yeah.
With Taylor Abel and Pop and all that.
That we're never going to make a video.
We're just gonna. I've been building this thing for 7 years. Okay, so
it's a planet.
This is Zeoff.
It looks like Saturn.
Well,
oh, never mind.
Yeah. It has.
Wait, it gets more complicated.
It has rings.
Please note my brain.
This is Tatorn. Oh, wait, no, Tatorn's too. I didn't draw the rings big enough.
Also looks like Saturn or an atom.
Atoms
Someone in the
don't look
comments,
like that.
correct me.
Atoms don't look like that. Saturn's rings are not tilted. I will correct
This is Tatorn. Tatorn is where most of this is where like Petrika and stuff is.
I thought that was Zeoff.
No, Zeoff is where Petrika where she married that's where she had Alexander. Right before she left to join the rebellion on Tatorn. And I was almost killed by the king and all that stuff, and yeah. So that's Tatorn. This is Terran.
Oh, okay.
There are a couple of moons here, and then we've got the broken ass moon here. This is not to scale, because Zeoff is huge. Zeoff is like 3 Jupiters big, and Terran is Earth. Terran is our Earth. I'll explain that in a bit.
Said that there is ponies needed. Ponies are not needed for everything, but they certainly make things better sometimes.
What?
This is Luther talking.
I'm looking at the chat.
This is her brother. He's 12.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
So okay, so where was I? So there are a couple of other planets which I haven't come up with names on, but there are at least 2 others, and then Zeoff is all part of this. That whole planet system right here with the moons and stuff is part of a bigger solar system, but right now we're focusing on this solar system. So there's like twin suns, and then more, not solar systems, but like planet systems with like planets and shit, and there's all of that. But we're focusing on this one right now. Layer 3 is not visible. What the hell are you? Oh, I'm on layer 3. Oops. So then there is. Hold on 1 second.
Someone call Morgan Freeman. We need this universe explained.
This is really difficult. Okay, so Terran, which I'm drawing right now, Pretend that the stream is caught completely up and you can see me drawing a big red circle. So Terran is our Earth. This is us. But so like in 20, what was it? We decided 2102.
2147.
2147. Let me erase that. And 21.
I thought it was like 26 something.
It was 2147. 2147 is the year.
That says 2102.
It's catching up. I said it's late. 2147 is the year that scientists discover that the sun is expanding far too fast. It's not going too fast. Something is wrong. So they're trying to figure out a way to get us out of this situation because space travel isn't as far as we want it. So we're stuck. And so this
is Earth.
So what they figure out is that they can phase the Earth into different dimensions as long as they replace another version of the Earth. What they think they found a version of the Earth that's completely uninhabited, and they phase in it. But before they do, they make sure that like a bunch of people are on spaceships that can just shoot off of the planet if there's like an accident or something bad happens. So like there's a bunch of people on spaceships. So what happens is that they phase into the Earth that's in Zeoff's system, which we're just gonna find a name for the system. Prenup. That's the name of the system now. For now, at least, work in progress title. So they phase into this Earth, and that Earth is inhabited as like a vacation spot for all the big important people on Zeoff go to that Earth, Terran, to party. And there were a bunch of them, and we just phase shifted our entire planet onto their whole deal, and they're not very happy about that. So what they do is they bomb the shit out of the Earth. They bomb the ever-living fuck out of it. It's just completely destroyed. Everything here is destroyed, except it's not completely destroyed. And what happens is their moon is. I gotta draw Earth now. So what happens is that they bomb us, but not with nukes or atomic bombs or anything. They bomb us with like a sentient life destroying thing, because it's a magic universe. They've got all these crazy kind of magic shit. So they bomb us, and stuff happens to the Earth because our Earth isn't adjusted to magic because our gods are dead. We don't have any more gods. We don't have anything. So we are not able to use magic because we don't have someone to siphon it through. So we're here, and anyone on this, any sentient being, like intelligent sentient being, like a human or some kind of alien on that planet, dies. But there's a whole bunch of us out in spaceships, and we're all out chilling, not having a good time because everyone on the planet is dead now. Except like the dogs and shit. The dogs are pretty happy. Here's a dog. The dogs are not happy, but they're there and they're alive. So are the chickens. There's a chicken. There's a chicken.
That's
frog.
Cool,
I forgot how to draw frogs. Pretend that's a frog.
So you draw a circle, and then you draw a sea bear circle.
Oh, wait, that's the frog right there that I just drew. That's supposed to be my frog.
Okay, dead planet.
So that's Earth. Except what happens is this is the Americas. The Americas kind of went like shot 50 miles up, and now they're kind of elevated. Yeah. All weirdly. So like we're on the planet's surface here. This is like the water and shit.
Yeah, Earth is messed up.
Yeah, we're a little bit.
So messed up.
We're a little bit. We're in a lot of trouble. So like a couple thousand years passed, and Zeoff is kind of like a totalitarian fascist regime in a way. Like they don't really like how do I say it? They don't really like horned elves, and they don't like horned elves. They don't like people of color. They don't like people who don't follow the same religions as them. They're just kind of like terrible people. And hold on, I'm drawing. I want to make sure people know that this is America. real fast.
America.
This is what America becomes.
Damn, America's crazy.
There we go.
America can float. We all float here.
Oh my god. So
vanish. Gotta go do something here in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Wait, who's leaving?
Me, I gotta go do something here in a minute, and I probably will vanish for like maybe an hour, because you know my family likes to make me clean at 12 o'clock in the morning.
Ooh.
Yeah, but so after Earth is all messy.
Well, I'm still not done explaining.
Hurry up.
So like several thousand years pass, and they've Zeoff has kind of put all the people they don't like on the Earth. So like everyone who they arrest but they don't want to deal with gets sent to Earth. So like a bunch of innocent people, but also some really bad people. But it's kind of like post-apocalyptic Earth. So think Fallout, but if Fallout was greener and there was like water everywhere, and it's really kind of pretty in a sense. But you got to remember that a whole bunch of people died. Like there's a lot of death, and there are a lot of ghosts because now the Earth has been exposed to magic. So now it's kind of like going through a weird crises kind of thing, because it's trying to figure out how it deals with this. And now that the Earth has been exposed to magic, it needs a god. It needs it because planets in my story, they all have to have a deity or several deities ruling over them. So what happens is we got these big, beautiful major goddesses, creation and destruction, who I'm drawing down here. Creation's got like these really pretty horns, and she's really pretty. And she's really gay for destruction. She's got like all this space hair. It's really cool. She's a cool looking person. You've probably seen her. I draw her a lot. And destruction is like bright yellow, and she's got these purple horns that shoot back, and they go. I forgot what she looks like, but I know she looks cool, and she's got like these green things down here. And they're both really pretty. And
what is your brother saying?
I'm not looking at the chat, so I don't know. So
he's just like rambling.
Oh, he does that sometimes. Just let him do it. All right, so they decide that this place, this little shithole that just kind of popped up in the middle of everywhere, this needs a god or a goddess or several, because it's gonna implode if it doesn't have something to rule over it. Yeah. So they place this girl down, and they've decided first they decide that Earth is completely covered in corruption, which is a whole nother thing I'm going to have to explain at some later point, but I'll save that because that's a big ass story that involves creation and destruction's mother and war, and the fact that creation and destruction have some dead children. That's also very important. That's the 1 in 20. That's where Dante and Petrika and Taylor and all that stuff come in. But we've got this chick, Eshel, she appears to be a Fane, which is just kind of fae folk. I made her way too dark. Oh, dang it. Where is my brown? I'll just mix some lighter shades in there. So we've got Eshel.
Eshel's aesthetic.
Eshel is really quiet, but Eshel is quiet because she forgets to talk. Like she's talkative if you get her going, but she forgets to start talking.
Hey, I forget so many things.
She forgot to tell her friend. Yeah, she forgot to tell her friends that she's a god. She spent like 200 years with these people, and she's like, "Oh shit, I thought I told you." And they're like, "No, you really didn't. You really didn't tell us that, Eshel." And she's like, "Oh well, I'm sorry." Yeah, this is Eshel, and she has to grow up to become the goddess of the earth. And then each of the spots here, like the Americas have got to get their own god, but that has to grow naturally with everything. So there's like a whole bunch of processes in order to actually like bring the earth. There's like a lot of paperwork, and no Earthlings really know how to fill it out. So now it's up to the goddesses to try to figure that out. And there's
so much paperwork.
So much paperwork involved.
You know how much paperwork that I have to fill out. There's this new planet and everything.
They've got a lot of work to do. But yeah, that's that deal. And yeah, I'm gonna start drawing Taylor, and you. Oh, do we want to explain the 1 in 20 now, or do we want to wait to explain the 1 in 20?
We should explain it now because it's gonna come up a lot.
All right. Well, this is so creation and destruction. They had these really shitty parents, and there's and an Or, and they're really bad people. So they start a war. They wage a war against and and Or are already raging a war against each other, and they've killed like a whole bunch of people. They've killed a lot of gods, and they've killed a lot of goddesses and deities and mortal beings, and pretty much they've killed a lot of people. And creation and destruction come around and like, yo, mom, stop. And they're like, no. So they kill creation and destruction, kill their parents, but before they kill their parents they corrupt their children, two of their daughters, Dusk and Dawn, who creation and destruction then have to kill. So what happens is the corruption that they started is spreading across dimensions, and it's spreading across planets, and creation and destruction have to find a way to deal with that. So they employ Plum's dragons, which Plum will explain at a later point is the dragons. So we've got these two dead kids, which I didn't draw. I don't know actually who I started drawing. I just kind of started drawing there. So they got their two dead kids, and these two dead kids eventually get what happens is creation and destruction shatter their souls, and they spread them all over the mortal realm. So we've got like the battlefield, and this is thousands and thousands of years before the Earth decides to show its ugly face in this dimension. So we've got this is really confusing. I'm very sorry, but we've got they're spread across, and they get absorbed into the younger souls, and they've got built into things. So we've got these 20 people whose souls have bits and pieces of Dusk and Dawn's souls in them, and they're called the 1 in 20. And they're important because some reason, but they've got God souls, so they're rather powerful people. And one of Eshel's duties is she has to find the 1 in 20s that are on the planet, because they're all within the Zeothan like area. So like there's a whole bunch on Tatorn. There are so many on Tatorn. There's like 15 on Tatorn. And then there are some
so many.
There are some on Zeoth, and there's some on the other planets, and then there's how did I write it too? There's some on the other planets, and then there's some on, and then the rest are on Earth. So it's Eshel's duty to find those. And two of those are Pop, who's my really cool looking character, I'm gonna draw Pop real fast. I really like Pop. Pop is dead also. Taylor is not dead, but Pop is dead by the time Dante shows up. So yeah, the 1 in 20 are important, and they've got to find each other, and I'm going to let Plum explain the rest because I'm very tired of talking because I don't like to talk.
Okay. So with the whole explanation of the planets and the 1 in 20, we now get to a story. My child, Dante. So, he was the son of a prostitute. His mother cared for him, but she cared more about getting successful than her child. Plus, Dante was born into magic, dragon magic specifically, and it was eating away at his infantile body. Like his arm was starting to rot by the time he was like 2. So he was born in Egypt, which is underneath a democratic monarchy, which means that a king is elected by people, and the king can either choose to pass on the rule to his family, like his sons and daughters and stuff, or drop the election and have someone else be elected.
Well, no, not exactly like that. Remember that they don't just drop their child, because then they have a reign. What happens is their children have to be re-elected in. So like if their child they have the thing and they have the election, and the people are like, oh well, this is you're still good to go for this, but they always rule for life. They always rule for life.
Yeah, the reign is for life. So they can either choose to pass the reign on to their children, which has to go through the election process thing, or they don't pass it on to their children where there's still an election, just not their children. So in Egypt, there's this king thing, and Dante's great grandfather was once a king in Egypt, and he got ran out because he was corrupted, an evil guy, just a horrible guy. And his mother, after giving birth to him at the age of 1, moved them to France because at the time Egypt wasn't doing great as the elections were still going on after this corrupted dude. So they moved to France to this little village with Dante's father and Dante's mother, and Dante becomes the new leader of the, or not Dante, Dante's dad becomes the new leader of this village, which is uppity and rich. Dante's mother is not, because she's a prostitute, and they're poor. So the problem is, Dante's father doesn't love him because, well, none of us prostitutes. And Dante's mother is more obsessed with getting successful than taking care of her son. So in the forests of France, because it's new old Earth and there's forests in France now, he kind of just gets abandoned in the forest. His arm is rotten off because his magic's eaten it away, and his mother leaves him at the age of 4. So we got this orphan child now, just wandering through the woods for like a day, starving to death, crying his eyes out because he's 4. And then he stumbles on a fight between dragons, 2 dragons in fact. So the thing with the dragons are, on this world there are things called pillars. Now they keep the balance of the world because New Old Earth doesn't really have a goddess yet because it's new and horrible. So the goddesses employed pillars to keep balance on this planet. So there are like pillars of storm, pillars of ocean, pillars of fire, etc. I haven't decided how many pillars I want yet. So these 2 dragons, both pillars, a pillar of storm and the pillar of earth, like earthquakes and stuff, are fighting on who gets to cause the next natural disaster because one is scheduled and a certain number amount of people need to die as the world needs to be balanced. So these 2 are fighting. The storm pillar, his name is Monso, and the earth pillar, his name is Atlas. And they're fighting over who gets to create an earthquake or who gets to create a hurricane. So they're just short of getting physical with it. And they're yelling and blowing fire at each other and just shaking the entire area. And then a 4-year-old Dante stumbles out of the woods and sees these dragons. Mind you, in this world, environmentally magical creatures like dragons aren't seen as dragons, they're seen as something else. But they know they come from the goddesses because they're not normal something else. So, like,
imagine like
what the seen as giant elves.
Yeah, like from Princess Mononoke. Like imagine walking in and seeing like
that elf from Princess Mononoke.
Some freaky shit.
Anyone ever think that was a normal elf?
See, it's a couple people being like, "Oh yeah, that's just your average everyday elf."
Totally a normal elf.
Normal.
But so Dante, being born into magic, can see environmental creatures as they truly are, like fae or dragons or goddesses. So he stumbles upon these 2 fighting dragons and starts excitedly shouting about lizards because he's 4 and he likes lizards.
Ah, I just found this fucking huge lizard. You want to kill it?
No, please don't kill the lizard. But so he's freaking out over the lizards, and his arm is deliberately rotting off at this point. And the dragons notice him, and they're like, "What the hell? Where did this little boy come from? And can he see us?" So,
don't question where the little boys came from.
what?
Little boys come from forests. They just emerge.
So they look at him. They're like, "Okay, there's this child now." And then Monzo, the storm pillar, notices his arm, and he goes, "Oh shit, what am I gonna do about this?" And then he comes up to the little boy, like kind of talks to him and asks him some questions, and then
in broken dragon
like,
English.
"Can I see your arm?" And then, "Can I see your arm?" He's like, "Oh yeah," and he bites it off. This is now because the arm is becoming corrupted, and that's no good for a 4-year-old little boy.
And it's a dragon's job to prevent corruption.
Yep, and it's the dragon's job to prevent corruption, as they're the balance of Earth, and Earth is just filled to the brim with horrible corruption. So Monto bites off his arm, spits it out because it's gross and rotting. Damien is freaked out at this point because his arm just got bitten off and starts running away. But since the dragon, Monto, stops the fight with Atlas, Atlas goes away because he has work to do. Atlas won the fight. He's going to go cause an earthquake somewhere in France. And Monto runs after the kid because, well, magical child means magical dangerous things are going to eat him. And then Monto just kind of adopts him as his own kid, this 4-year-old human boy. So he raises Dante as his own, teaches him the dragon language and god language, which is in ciphers. It's pretty dang cool.
We'll explain god language later.
It's like that second beat kind of stuff.
Like apparently. Lucian, I don't need your input. Like what I'm playing right now. This is what god language sounds like.
We ain't playing Overwatch here.
Yeah, but so Dante is raised by this dragon, so he's able to hone his abilities a lot better, and he's told some rules about his powers. He's not allowed to hurt humans with it. He's not allowed to kill an innocent, and he's only allowed to use it if it's cleansing corrupted souls. So those are the 3 rules his dad gave him, and that's how Dante honed his powers. And by the age of 16, he was doing quests for his father, cleansing corrupted beings, like corrupted dragons that were causing havoc in towns and stuff, and killing monsters that were causing havoc and killing people. And then by the time he was 26, he was fighting a dragon. He killed it. It exploded, and he fell to the ground right in front of a tailor.
Right into Taylor's arms. Taylor had her arms out.
Right into Taylor's arms, who were fighting with her wife, her female friend, her wife friend.
Taylor is bad at English.
Taylor is horrible at English, yeah. So he meets Taylor, which is one of the 1 in 20. She is a half-dwarf, half-giant, and she's pretty dang awesome.
She's my character in the Pink and Blue Club.
Vegetarian, I think.
Yes, she's a vegetarian.
And she's pretty dang awesome. She's married to Pia, which is a Cyclops lady.
Cyclops princess.
Princess. She's also a princess.
From a different planet.
So he meets these two. They're both 1 in 20s.
Well, no, Pia is not.
Oh, Pia is not a 1 in 20 then. Only Taylor is the first time he's meeting these two. And he's freaking out because he fell from the sky after a dragon explosion. and he's in this random lady's arms. So he's freaking out.
Dragon explosion.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. After a corrupted being is cleansed and killed, they explode.
Is it like Splatoon?
No.
Kind of.
It's like a nuclear bomb.
It's like a nuclear bomb except smaller and less deadly. But it's because all the pent up energy of the corrupted being, because magic can corrupt somebody, explodes all out at once.
My dumbass say Splatoon. Anyway.
Because corruption is that way. And so he meets Taylor and Pia. They're like having a petty argument or something, whatever, over like food or probably something like that.
It's most likely food.
Likely food, yeah. And
they're in the Americas. They're in the area because America is 50 miles up now. So there's like a whole bunch of cliff space, and they have built towns within those cliffs.
Yeah, he's been going all over the earth fighting like creatures on behalf of his father. Now Dante has a few things about him. Because his arm was bitten off at 4 years old, he's missing an arm, but he's a trash baby. He doesn't really live anywhere because he's raised by a dragon. So he has a metal cap.
Is it sounding like Junkrat?
He's not Junkrat.
Junkrat was a son of a dragon.
I'm just saying, the one-arm thing. Why did it put Junkrat vibes in my head? Explain that.
Because he said trash child.
Oh, that's probably why.
So he's like a homeless dude. Yeah, he has a pretty horrible sense of fashion. He has a bowl cut because he has tiny little horns that people are scared of. Because usually humans are scared of magical creatures like a normal person would be.
Well, no, Zeothans, and there are a lot of Zeothan officers, so he has to.
Yeah, people don't like horned elves very much. It's like a racist thing.
Yeah, that's why Taylor Taylor hides her horns under her hat. Eshel doesn't give a shit. Eshel wears whatever the hell she
Dante
wants.
has this really dorky bowl cut with an undercut underneath it, so it hides his tiny little dragon horns. And his arm is off because he got it bit off at 4, and it has this metal cap on it that he found in the trash. He cleaned it and attached it to his arm so he doesn't have phantom limb pain, because the nerves have something to output to. And then he has this glass ball that he found. The Fushigi.
Not from the Fushigi wizard, though.
It's Fudoshi.
No, it's Fushigi.
It's a Fushigi. It's the toy.
Do you not know what a Fushigi is?
The one that came out in 2010, the magic glass orb thing.
I've got to show you Fushigi.
But Fushigi, he found, Omi found his little dragon friend. Omi's a tiny little dragon. That's the biggest she'll ever get. He found her in a nest of predators because dragon eggs are valued by poachers because they're bigger and prettier. Dragon eggs are freaking aesthetic.
And Oni's type of dragon is a delicacy on Zeoth, especially at her age.
Yeah.
So they eat dragons in Zeoth.
Eggs are collected, incubated, and hatched, especially the small dragons. Like Omi is. She's really, that's a Fushigi. It's freaking dumb. But, so she's small, and Dante communicates with that freaking dumb thing that came out in 2010.
He glued a Fushigi to the end of his arm.
Yeah, so Omi, his little dragon friend, melted the Fushigi that he found and glued it to the end of the cap so she could get inside of it and make him a astral projected magical arm, because if you're a magical creature, any limbs or appendages that you use leave a magical imprint upon you, because magic flows throughout your entire body and is collected from the environment. So he still has a magical imprint of an arm that Omi can astrally project. into the physical plane, and like he can use it for arm stuff and magic casting, like magic circle casting. Because dragon magic consists of primarily old magic, like magic circles, and his magic is different because he's still a human and not a dwarf, elf, or anything like that.
He's not supposed to be able to use
naturally
magic.
eats away. So magic naturally eats away at any extra stuff that he has. So he has to not only smoke to keep toxins in his body, so magic can eat it up, but he also has to be really forward with his emotions, so magic can also eat up his emotions while he's casting. Because if he doesn't, it'll start to eat away at his fat and his muscles and his bones and stuff. Because that's what magic needs is like good body things.
Okay.
So he's technically a mage because he was born into magic. So he's known as a mage. So he got his magic arm and he's got his magic. The thing is, he uses defense magic mostly because attack magic drains a lot more than defense magic, and every time he uses attack magic, he passes out. It's really embarrassing for him. He like passes out for days, depending on what kind of attack he uses. But he's really good at barriers, and he's really good at defense magic. So he's a natural protector. So on a team, he would be like the shield. So he also has a bracelet on his still living human arm. His father gave him a magic bracelet made out of dragon scales and like fairy hair, and it's called the Catalyst. It gives him any melee weapon or long range weapon or any weapon in particular that he has the power of making within his own power, like a sword or something. He can't go over and beyond his abilities with the Catalyst. It does not give him what he wants, it gives him what he needs. So, like in a situation, say, if he needed a sushigi, he would get a sushigi.
And that has happened 5 times.
And he can't control what he gets unless he concentrates super hard, but it's really hard to get focused like that. So he basically uses whatever he gets from the Catalyst.
Except for the fushigis. He doesn't know what to do with those.
Yeah. And then because he is the son of a dragon, so he learns the tongues of God and dragon language, which is ciphers and ridiculous singing.
I'll explain God language later.
Okay. So he has this little drum on his belt. It's let's say goatskin drum with nice beige coloring, and then he can summon magic drumming sticks to make music with and like chant his god language in the dragon language, so he can use like more powerful attacks or like fly like a dragon.
Have you seen Terror of the Dragon Boy, perhaps, Oni?
Well, that was a plethora of information.
Well, in Terror of the Dragon Boy, there's this dude. He's a red Oni, and he's got this drum at some point in the movie, and he beats this drum, and he's sitting on a cloud, and that's basically what Dante does. He sits on a cloud and bangs a drum, and that's how he flies. Because he doesn't actually fly, he bangs on his drum.
As he is a human, yeah. Am I talking too fast? Can you understand, like, the storyline so far?
I guess.
That's not a good answer. I'm explaining this badly, I'm pretty sure of it.
No, I think you're being clear. It's just that I'm kind of like in this trance, we'll call it.
Are you tired?
No. I don't know. You start. Oh, did I do the thing? I usually start when people start talking, okay? Like teachers and that kind of thing, I'll zone completely out.
You'll
and
dissociate.
I'll just be staring. Yeah. I'll just be staring. I don't know what I'm staring at, or I'll just
that's all good. You can do what you do. It's like
I unclick.
We're doing the stream for anyone. Zone out as much as you want. I don't really care.
I just feel really bad because you explained all that and I'm still confused.
No, I don't.
It's super confusing, dude.
It's all over the place.
It's something I've been working on for 7 years. It's really not going to be linear in the least bit.
Yeah, we're kind of just like winging it. This is why it's story building. You don't have to be completely engaged. I don't care. I'm just speaking because I need to. I love my children very much. So, it's all good. Dissociate as much as you want. So, where was I?
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, I was explaining his
No, I didn't turn Super Saiyan yet, my fam. But I will. I'll go further beyond.
Yeah. So his drum allows him to fly and to like chant. Chanting magic is a bit newer than dragon magic. He doesn't use it very often, but when he does, it's like.
Well, no, chanting magic is older than any kind of magic. What?
Oh, chanting magic is old?
Chanting magic is a lot older. Chanting magic is god magic.
Okay. So he doesn't know chanting magic very well because, well, he's a human and he doesn't use it very often. But he can do like transportation spells and flying spells with it because, well, it's god magic, I guess. So he can speak dragon language and god language, which is pretty impressive for a human because literally 0 people can pronounce what they're saying, except for probably Dante and the gods. And the dragons. So, Dante has all this stuff. He has a horrible, horrible backstory. It's very sad. But his father is ridiculous as hell. So his father, dragon, Monso, he's the pillar of storms. He can do, like, hurricanes and stuff. But he's the one who taught Dante magic and whatnot. So he knows his language and everything. The problem is, Monso doesn't know English or humans very well. So when he disguises himself as a human, it's utterly ridiculous.
He doesn't look human at all.
He has a crest underneath his chin, like made of clouds and stuff, and precipitation. And he has gigantic horns that come from the sides of his head and curl around underneath the crest. He's very, very big. He's pretty big, like the size of, I'd say, the White House. Yeah, the White House is big. And he keeps the skies in balance and the winds in balance, and he makes like boobs and stuff. So that's his dad. So Dante falling out of the sky and meeting Taylor, landing directly in her arms. Beautiful. So Taylor kind of adopts this 26-year-old kid, Dante, as like her to-be son, because he's just like innocent and basically a child at heart. He's never killed anyone except for the corrupted because he's not allowed to, and he doesn't use attack magic because it drains him, and he has to have a certain emotion for that. And he passes out, and that's Dante. Do you want to explain Taylor now and their relationship? I don't know what to say for that.
I'm not going to explain Taylor because everyone is asleep in my house right now and I really shouldn't be talking.
Oh, okay.
I'll send you a link to Taylor's toy house and you can try and do best, and I'll try and I'll see what I can do to tell you if you're doing anything wrong. I'll send you the link. I'll just straight up send you the link to my toy house.
Yeah. I'll explain Taylor. Dante and Taylor have a good relationship. They're like mother and son. His 3 adopted mothers and his 1 dad. So after Dante falls into Taylor's arms, they get acquainted. Taylor hates his fashion sense because he has a bowl cut. He's wearing a sleeveless trench coat that he tore the sleeves off of because he does not like constricted clothing, and he's just wearing this loose belt to carry his drum. So Taylor is a battle mage, and she's trans. She's a Gemini, apparently, and she's 27 years old in human years.
Oh no, this is during Murder and Cookies. This is before Dante. This is 200 years before Dante.
Okay, so this is 200 years before Dante, so she... Hold on just a second. Just 1 second.
It's all my jobs.
I'm back. Sorry. Guest came over and I thought I was being called. But Taylor, she is around 227 years old, apparently, by the time she meets Damien. And she grew up in an extremely accepting and loving household. Nothing bad happened to her. And her parents died of natural causes almost a year before the events of the story. Thus, the wedding rings on her neck, a reminder of her family. So she's like super into her family who died and loved her. So her wife is Pia. She's the Princess Cyclops lady. Her mother is
Abeba.
Abeba. Her mother is Abeba. Her father is Iosif. How do you pronounce that?
Iosif.
Iosif.
Mm-hmm.
Her brother is Odin. Her sister is
Yoria.
So she has physical strength, and her strength is her wife. It's romantic as hell. She has determination. She is a knight. She's gentle and affectionate and whatnot. She is weak to animals and children. She is nervous and she hates loud noises. How can she be weak to animals but also like them? That's
like
weird.
She loves animals and children so much that it's a weakness.
She hates seeing her own blood, but that's bad because she gets beat up a lot. It's her job. I don't know how she got this job. Fish, they freak her out. She hates being alone and being confined. She does not give a crap about anything at all, I guess. Most things. She quit smoking after her parents died, and she's afraid of way too many things, apparently. So that's Taylor. So Dante's would-be mother. They have a good relationship, and they go on quests together before he joins Rabbit, which is surprising because Rabbit's like this organization.
Royal Association of Bewitchment and Black Magic on Terra.
Yeah, it's an organization that like promotes magic use and whatnot. It's pretty great. I like it. Their costumes are freaking aesthetic. Their dresses and stuff. So he goes on quests before joining Rabbit. He's not really keen to the idea of joining a whole organization, but he likes the people, so he's like, yeah, I'll help you. You're great. So we should go to the first quest that he did with Taylor, the quest that got her attached to him so much.
The Fushigi Wizard?
The Fushigi Wizard.
Oh, I gotta start drawing the Fushigi Wizard now. It's required.
Great. So, because he does things on behalf of his father, killing corrupted creatures and whatnot, he follows the orders, and Taylor's all like, "Oh, you know, I'll stick around a little bit. I'll help you on this one." Oh, she's so pretty. I love her so much. So they go to this factory in Middletown, USA, just nowhere.
It's in Missouri.
Because in Missouri?
It's in Missouri.
Okay. This Fushigi factory is in Missouri. And I'll tell you, Fushigis were mass produced in 2010, so this was a way long time ago that this thing was abandoned. When Earth first entered the solar system, everything got pretty much destroyed because they were bombed to death. So he was all like, "Oh, this is just a factory." They enter and cross a magical threshold, which is basically a magical tripwire. And this dude pops out. He's like this 98-looking-year-old man. He has this handlebar mustache, and he has 90s clothes, like a Six Flags t-shirt and a weird khaki pants or something, and he's wearing moon shoes, which were also really popular back in the early 2000s. They were ankle breakers, gotta tell you. So this guy is like, "Ugh, you dare come to my factory, I swear I will kill you and your stupid friend." So,
well, no, first he announces himself as the Fushigi Wizard.
Okay, so he's all, "I'm the Fushigi Wizard. I have been here for a long, long time. I have collected Fushigi since I was 5. It was great. He's collected so many early 2000 toys, like Fushigis, moon shoes, that skipped rope thing that broke your ankles as well, the weird action figures that they sold for strange things. He just collected them all until he was the age of 98 years old. And
no,
then,
dude, he's been around since before Earth was Terran. He was around in the original. He's corrupted, so he's lived forever. He's been around since 2010.
He's been around since a long time, and this is before Earth became a part of that solar system and became Terran and whatnot. So he's just like, "I've been here a long time. You will not be in my factory, or so help me, I will kill you." So he's all corrupted. The thing with corrupted beings is either you have to kill them yourself or they have to kill themselves, neither of which ends very well. So Dante's just in utter awe because this man, corrupted, he's a freaking looking 2000s dude, and he's just, Fushigis are everywhere. So he's like, "Okay, we're gonna fight you? Question mark. So the Fushigi wizard takes 2 steps forward, trips over his moon shoes, and dies. The thing with corrupted beings is they can't just very easily kill themselves like that. So this globulous, gigantic, black oozing form comes out, just Fushigi. And it's pretty scary because his voice is horribly deep and raking, and he's gigantic and horrible looking. So Dante's all like, "Yeah, that's more like it." Because he's crying at this point because an old man just died right in front of his eyes and he did not do anything. Taylor is in utter awe after she leaves because of the Fushigi wizard. She's a fashionista. So this Fushigi wizard is freaking her out so much, but he makes such a dramatic entrance because, like, "Welcome to the Jungle" by AC/DC plays in the background, and like these smoke machines with lights come out like 2000s to pop. And he's like, "I'm the Fushigi wizard." So he comes out, and Taylor just doesn't know what to do, so she leaves. So after the globulous form comes out, she comes back in, and she's like, "Okay, let's fight." And the thing about Taylor is she can use magic too. And how does her magic work? She can make anything?
She's a strictly magic-based, attack magic-based person, but she is built to use magic, so it doesn't feed off of anything that she has. she can just straight up use magic with reckless abandon.
Because she's already a magical creature, she can use magic without consequence most of the time. Now, remember, Dante can't use attack magic very well because he'll pass out. So Taylor is like the one defense that he has. So he pulls out Catalyst, and instead of giving him like a sword, it gives him a fushigi. He's like, wait, what is this? Why do I have a fushigi? This is ridiculous. I can't explain. So he's like, okay, I can't use my Catalyst. I'm going to use some defense magic. So he drops the fushigi, makes a magic circle on the floor. The fushigi is inside the magic circle, so just a mountain of fushigis come out, and it carries them up. And the globulous, corrupted creature goes nuts and starts attacking Dante. And he's like, okay, I can't use defense either, so I guess I'm going to have to die then. So he picks up a fushigi, and he looks over to Taylor, who's all like, yeah, and starts throwing fushigis at the corrupted beast, and like takes up a Tommy gun magic and just like starts pelting the thing with fushigis with the Tommy gun. It's hilarious. And Dante's are like, okay, I'm not getting any help here. So he uses his attack magic, a very small amount, mind you. He makes wind and spins the glass balls until they're hot and molten and flings them at the creature. It takes 2 whole days to fight this creature, and Dante is drained. He has 0 emotional magic left. He hasn't smoked in 2 days because he ran out of cigarettes on the first day. So after this thing is defeated, it obviously explodes. The entire building shakes and fushigis fly everywhere, and Dante passes out. Now, his little dragon, Omi, is kind of like his helper. She's a little bit of an asshole, but she's a helper. So she makes a teleportation room and a claim stake on the building because she likes it a lot. And she buries the teleportation room and sticks the claim stake on the wall. And because she's seen humans do it and thinks that that's what humans do to claim things, she pees on it. So Dante, Omi, and Taylor teleport back to the rabbit headquarters, and he's passed out for a solid week because he's dead. He's like, he used all his energy, he doesn't have any toxins, and his body was on fire because the magic started eating away at his muscles because he's skinny and doesn't have much fat. So he wakes up, and that's the end of the fushigi incident. And Omi still goes back to the fushigi factory because she likes to bury herself in the fushigis. And Taylor loves the word, now she uses it all the time. Okay, so that was the fushigi incident. Now, here's the next quest that we came up with 2 entire years after the fushigi thing. In Egypt, this is where my other character, Iris, comes in. Now, Iris, she is also the daughter of a prostitute. But this prostitute elopes with an Egyptian king, and Iris is the illegitimate daughter of this king, whom her grandmother doesn't like very much, but she can't do anything about it. So Iris grows up well cared for, rich, obviously. She's the daughter of a king, and the king, her father, is a pretty cool ruler. He like has respect for the land and stuff. And the thing about Iris is her parents were not born into magic. Her parents were considered witches and wizards. Witches and wizards are people who are not born into magic, but end up using magic later in their life. So there's that. So Iris was born into magic because both of her parents are magic users. And now the king is also a magic user. He's not a witch, he's a mage, but they call them magicians in Egypt. So there's that. So she's raised on magic. She's raised fighting because she's a princess, and a princess should at least know how to wield a sword. So she knows how to wield sword, a knife, and magic as well. She learns good techniques of all three by the time she's 10. Now, Iris, she wants to be a part of the Royal Guard. And the captain of the Royal Guard is this big, hunky, black dude who is also Jewish, that she kind of has like puppy crush on. It's adorable. And Iris, being completely straight female that she is like, oh yeah, that's my type. So Iris trained under the Royal Guard because that's like she wants to be a part of it, but she's also training to be a queen because her father asked her that, do you want to rule the Egypt one day? And she's like, yeah, sure, I should try it. So she's also being trained to be a queen. So she, when the time comes, she can be possibly elected into the reign. So Iris is a magic user. She would be considered a mage, but she's not quite a mage because her parents weren't born into magic either. So she's in between witch and mage, but most people would call her a mage. So this is where Dante and Iris both come into play. Now, in Egypt, it's a real magical place. It's just swarming with magic and corruption. So there's a lot of monsters. The problem is there's this one monster, the Catamidian boar. It's like 2 miles high and 4 miles long, and it looks like a flying potato. I can't stop thinking about the thing you drew. So Dante gets orders from his father and also the king's advisor, which also uses magic. His name is Paul.
It's straight up just Paul from Sergeant Frog. There's nothing. It's just Paul. It's literally just Paul.
It's just Paul. So Paul uses mostly transportation and teleportation magic, like portals and stuff, and he can summon like carriages and shit. So there's that. So Paul and his father both tell him that he needs to go fight the stupid boar. The boar is terrorizing Egypt and has already eaten 3 of the royal guard members, which the king is not very happy about. So Dante and Taylor, because Taylor wants to stick along for some reason, because Dante, when he kills something edible at least, he uses every part of the thing he kills. And the thing is, the boar is gigantic. Taylor's a vegetarian, so he's like, ooh, I heard boar tastes really good. So Taylor's like, ew. And Dante's like, hell yeah. So they go to Egypt, and they meet this boar. It's rather gigantic. And Dante wants to fight it, so he fights it. He's not doing very well, but he's fighting it. The boar is gigantic and magical. So Omi climbs in his Bushigi arm and makes magical arm appear so he can start casting spells. And he's really good at barrier spells, so he tries to contain the boar at first. But that doesn't work out very well. So he's all like, okay, Catalyst, let's friggin' do this. So he summons a spear, and he fights the gigantic boar, and miraculously, he manages to run it off. He can't kill it because it's stronger than he is, but he manages to run it off into the ocean where it can't bother people. Because it's magical, it can do whatever it wants. So it goes into the ocean. So he's all like, yeah, the boar is gone. I'm going to put a magical seal where it left so it can't come back. So he puts a barrier there so the boar can't come back and terrorize people anymore. And then the king, he meets with the king, so the king thanks him. And I forgot to mention, Dante's a mercenary, so he gets paid for stuff like this. And the type of currency they use in New Old Earth is like batteries, power, stuff like that, energy. So he's like, how much do I owe you for defeating the boar? And he's like, 6 crates of solar-powered batteries. And he was like, okay. So he gives him the batteries, and the king holds like a banquet or something. he didn't kill the boar, so he didn't eat it or anything, but he gets a banquet anyway. And Taylor's all like, oh, thank God. So this is where Dante and Iris meet. Dante can immediately tell Iris is not like other humans because he has the affinity to see magical creatures, and he's like, yo, I'm magical too. Don't worry, Dante does not fall in love with Iris because Dante is gay. Super gay. Majorly gay. Also gender fluid, so there's that. So Dante's all like, hey, you're magical. And she's like, yeah, I'm magical. And that's the story. They meet. Hooray, hooray. Now, Iris and Dante are friends, but Iris has to stay in Egypt because she's training to be a princess. But she's pretty much free reign of whatever she does, so she can visit him anytime she wants. So, there's that. And now for the last thing Wrath and I came up with. Because the main goal of the goddesses is to gather the 1 in 20 together, because, like, dead dusk and everything. So Dante is a part of the 1 in 20. Taylor is part of the 1 in 20, and Iris is also part of the 1 in 20. There's a few other Obsessive characters that are like that. So, like Pop and whatnot. So, a while after the boar thing, they're back at the base, and they're like, oh, we just received orders, we need to start finding the 1 in 20, but we have 0 leads. Now this is where it gets interesting, because, like I said, Dante can't use, like, powerful magic such as a spell called the All-Seeing Eye, unless he's filled with toxins or really emotionally charged. So he's like, well, I have this one spell that I could use that could possibly find them. And he's like, it's called the All-Seeing Eye, but I have to be 2 steps from death to be able to use it. So he's like, do you have any kind of poison that I could use to cast this spell? So he's all like, do you guys have any drugs, alcohol, or poison, or really gross food that I can eat to die? And they were like, are you sure you want to die? And he's like, yes, give me death. I can use this spell. I've only cast it once before, and it was by accident. So Taylor goes into her bedroom for like 5 minutes and comes out with like 6 bottles of Vicodin and like some oxys, drugs. So he downs those like shots. He's like, yep, now what? And then Pia, because she really likes to bake, or is it someone else I'm thinking of? Is it Pia?
It's Pia.
Okay, Pia like knows the recipe to everything, and she loves making mixed drinks. Now, Dante doesn't like alcohol, but he has to drink it to toxin. So he's like, Pia's like, we have to get you really, really drunk, and then maybe the pills will help you out with dying. He's like, okay. So they go to 5 different bars, emptying out each and every one. He is very, very, very drunk. He is so very drunk. So Taylor's all like, do you see destruction yet? And he's like, who? Okay. And then they go out for like greasy, gross burgers and like meat and stuff. Now, Dante's a real healthy dude. He likes to eat healthy. He doesn't like burgers or whatnot because they're gross to him. But he eats like 3 whole burgers, and then everything kicks in. He sees destruction and an astral projection that is like some kind of broken hologram of dusk, because she's kind of like, oh, what's going on here? Something bad is going on here. And he throws up right through and onto destruction, astral projection vomit onto the goddess. And he's like, okay, I'm dying. So he's all like, ready to cast the spell of the All-Seeing Eye. He utters only one word, fuck. And he casts the spell onto the ground, and it completely passes out and passes through the portal. Now, Pia and Taylor and Eshel are all very worried about him because he's dying. So they jump in after him, and he face plants into this kind of lobby-ish room that is in another dimension. Now, all the toxins are out of his body at this point because he cast a really powerful, gigantic spell that he's never supposed to cast because he was only able to cast it once every 3 years, and he cast it when he was dying. And he wakes up immediately and starts screaming for 5 minutes. I mean, proper reaction to a dying person. So, yeah. And everyone else is like screaming with him because he basically just died and he just cast a really weird spell that put them in another dimension. So after the whole screaming, they decide to look around a little bit, and Dante's all like, this is the rock room, because his father gave him this magical rock, which is basically an invitation to this dimension that is for the 1 in 20. It was made for the 1 in 20, so he gets to go in there, but his father gave him the literal invitation to this place. So he was like, wait a minute, I could have just used my rock to get here. He was super freaking pissed because he was like, I could have died, but he could have used this stupid rock. So they look around a little bit, and then there are these statues. 20 different statues. Now, the thing with the statues is they're magical statues, of course. So if you've seen one of the 1 in 20 and know one of the 1 in 20, what they look like, the statue is there. Dante can see his own statue. Taylor can see hers in Dante's. Taylor can see hers in Pia's. Pia's not 1 in 20, but Taylor can see Eshel's and stuff. So all these statues here, and underneath the statues are little slots with God language underneath them, which are the names of the 1 in 20. So since Eshel and Dante are the only ones that can read the God language, because Eshel's a goddess and just forgot to tell them, and Dante's been raised on that language, he's all like, oh, these are names. Look at these names. They might be clues. And underneath his statue, a key card pops out. Just a random key card. He's like, ooh, key card. And little do any of them know that these key cards can open portals to rooms that hold clues to where the other 1 in 20 are. So Dante, Taylor, and Eshel all get their own room, but instead of clues, it's like their mind space. Dante's is like a library, and I don't know what table, or Taylor and Eshel's would be.
Eshel isn't a 1 in 20. Eshel is a goddess.
Not really. Okay. So, Dante and Taylor's room, but not Eshel. But I don't know what Taylor's room would be.
I'll figure out Taylor's room later. I'm still developing that character.
Yeah. Okay. So it leads to like rooms. So they get these key cards, and each statue has its own portal, and these portals lead to clues to where the other 1 in 20 are. So they're like, all right, some leads. And I haven't developed the story further than that, so there's that. That's the entire thing I have to say. My mouth is really dry.
Do we have any more stories to tell from this? Anything?
I don't know. Did we make any more quests?
I don't think we did, but I guess you can come up with some because I still can't talk because everyone's asleep.
Nice.
What do you think of the Fushigi wizard so far?
Huh?
What do you think of the
I
Fushigi
love
wizard?
the Fushigi wizard. He looks so great. I love him so much. He's just badly dressed, and he has this stupid comb mustache on.
And he's got a feather boa.
He looks so dumb. I love him so much.
Too bad he's fucking dead as shit.
Yep. Okay, so more quests. Let's see. So, Dante wants to get a handle on his attack powers because he passes out literally every time he uses attack magic because it's so draining. So Taylor's all like, yeah, I could totally help you with that. because she can use attack magic without consequence a lot of the time, because she's a magical creature, being half giant and half dwarf. So there's that. And so Taylor takes off her hat for a minute to like do stuff, magical things, and he's like, "Wait, you have horns?" And mind you, Taylor lost her horns a long time ago, and horns were a really big part of her identity. So she was like, I used to have horns. Why must you mock me this way? It's like, no, you still have horns. You know this, right? She's like, wait, what? She was like, yeah, every appendage on your body of a magical creature leaves a magical imprint. So, yeah. So Dante grabs her would-be stumpy horn and pulls up, and then the astral projection of her horns come into play. He can't really replace her horns because he's not like a fairy or something, but she's all like, oh my god, my horns. She gets all excited and emotional, and he's like, yeah, astral projection. So at this point, he's like just talking to Taylor, and then Omi comes out, and since he communicates with his father through Omi, because his father's busy all the time and a pillar, so and Omi's all like, "Son, I am coming to you right now," and he's like, "Wait, what?" And then this ridiculous man that tries to pass as a human, comes along in this big, floofy Victorian dress with the big white round collar around his neck, and his hair is tied up in a ponytail. He has long, dark hair, and he still has 4 eyes and his horns sticking out. But this guy, he looks absolutely ridiculous. Taylor friggin' loves him because he's fashionably dressed and stuff like that. And he's all like, I am Jessica, because he's not familiar with English very well because he's a dragon. So and Dante's all like, oh my god, Dad, no, this is my dad. Say it, son. Say it, Jessica. And Dante's just super embarrassed about it. But that's Monso, his father. And then Monso comes in, like tea or something with his son and Taylor, and Eshel walks into the room. Mind you, Eshel is a goddess, so she technically knows about the pillars. And she's like, hey, what's this dude doing here? I know this dude. And Monso's like, oh, hello, Eshel, my favorite one that I was trying to see right now. Not totally my son. And he sneezes, and he has a hard time controlling his human form because he's never been in a human form before, and he turns into this full-size dragon, filling the entire room. And Eshel's like, hey, a pillar! And Eshel just kind of flicks her wrist and turns herself into the goddess form. And everyone but Dante is completely shocked because Dante knew about it. He can sense magical creatures like goddesses and stuff. But everyone's like, wait, what? Ashol, you're a goddess? You never told us? And she was like, I forgot. I'm very sorry, but I have to go. So
I really have to go. I have to go soon too. I have an 8 o'clock class. So thank y'all for coming to the stream.
Yeah, the stream has been fun.
Shiro,
you guys.
Shiro, we're all leaving.
You completely missed the stream.
Shiro, we just we're closing up right now.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna stream tomorrow though. I've got like 7 hours where I'm doing nothing, and it's not gonna be like 10 o'clock at night. So.
Oh yeah, you don't have art tomorrow. You're just gonna be at school for 7 hours.
Yep.
Oh, I feel so bad for you.
Hey, at least I'll find a place to stream, and I'll sit down and talk and stream at the same time. So. It's all good.
Well, I'll see you guys.
See y'all later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.